The Enugu campus of the University of Nigeria, a satellite campus of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Always a busy environment. Students scurrying to catch up with lectures and ancillary workers providing the needed services within and around the university.
It's just like
the campus, housing 4 key faculties, can now be described as a dead zone. The lifeless status the campus has now attained is a direct effect of the near 7 months of industrial action by university lecturers. What began as a 1-month warning strike has reached a point of no return, with the lecturers announcing a total showdown with the government. At the core of Academic Staff Union of Universities grievances is federal government's underfunding of universities. Of course, underfinancing universities will have rippling effects on remunerations as well as maintenance of equipment and structures, which many say are inadequate and in some cases embarrassing.
The basic issue is that the government of Nigeria signed an agreement as far back as 2009 with our union. And that agreement is supposed to be renegotiated every 3 years. But each time we say renegotiate, government will say no. Most of the issues, as we're saying, is let us revitalize our universities. Well, sir, before, at your back is an auditorium meant for 500 students. Today we have over 1,000 students there. The seats there, not up to 200, are okay. When you call students in to learn in such an environment, what type of education are you imparting? What is the learning environment like? Before you look at the building there, the uncompleted structure, that is supposed to be the Institute of Maritime Studies of University of Nigeria. Since 2011, it have been overgrown by bushes, uncompleted. Is that the type of learning environment that Nigerians need? You have a certificate, you don't have a knowledge? Is that what we need in Nigeria?
While the federal government says it's met 80% of ASUU's demands, Mr. Opata says the federal government is insincere in honoring the 2020 agreement.
When they say they released 50 billion, that 50 billion they released, when was it supposed to be released in the first instance? Under the agreement, 200 billion is supposed to be released yearly. Yearly.
So since 2013 till today,
how
much has been released?
That's 50 billion.
50 billion?
Yes. That's utter nonsense. So trying to tell us they release what is in the agreement. That's why I'm telling you that the government is not sincere. What is it that is in that agreement? How much are they supposed to release a year? What is the quantum and the percentage of what they release as opposed to what they have released?
It's been a case of economic misery for ancillary workers within and outside the university. Emelda sells phone accessories within the premises of the university. She says her financial situation has grown worse since the commencement of the strike.
Yeah, I prefer when students were here, at least sometimes you can make like 10,000, 15, 20 daily. But now, we hardly even make up to 1,000 naira in a day. So it's very difficult for us. And we want government to appealing on them to do something about it. So at least people can even survive. Because we that are doing business, it is affecting us very badly. We have so many things to do with money. You pay your rent, you pay so many things. But here, imagine when you're making 1,000 in a day, you have children to feed, you have them going to school. So it is not easy for us. We are just living by His grace.
Before the strike, so we are making at least, realizing our daily incomes wasn't as hard as it is now. But ever since the strike, we've been finding it hard getting the same amount we used to get before. It's been affecting us negatively since then. So we've been praying that the strike, they will call off the strike at any time. Yes. But this time we read newspaper, we find out that government are not being serious about ending the strike. So we are not happy about it.
At this university taxi park, Cab drivers engaged in a debate on which of the motorists would speak to this reporter. They feared what action the university management would take should news of their speaking to journalists become public knowledge. While some students now have ample time to engage in illegal activities, many do not survive the effect of such actions. For Judith, who's meant to be a 300-level communication student, the continued strike action is putting enormous pressure on her.
This situation where your parents are looking up to you to just find something to start doing because of the strike, and nobody wants to see you sitting at home when you should be out there hustling. But then, in actual fact, you should be studying, not working or hustling like at this moment. So it's like putting a lot of pressure on me, and I'm not happy about it.
There is no future for a country that students are lying as well. Some students have lost their lives. I work in a hospital. Some have delved into dangerous games, dangerous activities, and lost their life, which couldn't have happened if they were busy in the school studying. And the longer it takes, the more it will affect the students at the long run.
ASUU says it remains open to negotiations, but remains resolute on the full implementation of the 2020 Memorandum of Action for quick restoration of industrial harmony in Nigeria's public universities. With dilapidated and abandoned structures littering this university campus, ASUU's case for revitalization funds may have been strengthened. They want more funding for the education sector.
Appropriate funding and monitoring. Because if you bring the funds and you don't monitor how they are utilized, it is not appropriate. You bring the fund, monitor how it is utilized, so that there won't be leakages. The way forward is, first, let government prioritize education. Two, they have to honor an agreement they reached. The argument that is not their own government is inconsequential, because government has to do with assets and liabilities.
Since 2015, there's been an almost steady decline in budgetary allocations for the education sector, with education receiving 5.4% in Nigeria's 2022 budget. The UN's benchmark for budget allocation to education is 15 to 20% of public expenditure. Nigeria is yet to get to that benchmark. The United Nations says Nigeria may not achieve the global agenda for universal, inclusive and equitable basic education for all school-age children by 2030 if the country fails to increase its budget for education to 20%. Abel Ejikeme, Arise News.